Brian Shaffer grew up in Pickerington, Ohio, a suburb outside of Columbus. The eldest of two sons to Randy and Renee Shaffer, he graduated from the local high school in 1997 and went to Ohio State University for his undergraduate work. 6 years later, he graduated with a degree in microbiology. During his time at medical school, Shaffer had become romantically involved with another medical student, Alexis Wagner. She, along with their family and friends, believed that Brian would probably be proposing marriage to her later in 2006. Most likely on a trip to Miami the couple had planned for spring break at the beginning of April. Tropical locations such as Miami were attractive to Shaffer. He liked the relaxed lifestyle. He told his friends that despite his decision to pursue a medical career, his real ambition was to start a band and play music. On March the 31st, a Friday, classes at OSU ended for spring break. Shaffer and his father, Randy, celebrated the occasion by going out for a steak dinner together earlier that evening. Shaffer's father noted he seemed exhausted from having pulled all-nighters earlier in the week, cramming for some important upcoming exams. He did not think Shaffer should go out with a friend, William Clint Florence, later that night, as he planned to do so, but did not express his reservations to his son. At 9 p.m, Shaffer met Florence at the Ugly Tuna Saloon, a bar in the South Campus Gateway complex. An hour later, Shaffer called Wagner, who had returned to her home in Toledo, to visit with her family before she and Shaffer were due to depart for Miami. Shaffer and Florence went bar hopping, visiting several other drinking establishments and working their way down to the Arena District. At each stop, the two had one shot of hard liquor, according to Florence. After midnight, Shaffer and Florence met Meredith Reed, a friend of Florence, in the short north. Reed gave them a ride back to the Ugly Tuna Saloon, where they had started the night, and joined them there for a last round. While the three were there, Shaffer separated from his companions. Florence and Reed attempted to find Shaffer, repeatedly calling him. They left with other patrons when the bar closed at 2 a.m, waiting outside for Shaffer. When he was not amongst the departing crowd, they assumed he had gone back to his apartment without letting them know. Wagner and Shaffer's father both tried to call him later that weekend, but he did not answer. On Monday morning, he missed the flight to Miami he and Wagner had scheduled long before. He was then reported missing to the Columbus police. Police began their search for Shaffer at the Ugly Tuna Saloon, the bar where he had last been seen. Since the area around South Gateway campus was somewhat blighted with a high crime rate, the bar had installed security cameras. They reviewed the footage, which showed Shaffer, Florence and Reed going up an escalator to the bar's main entrance at 1:15 a.m. Shaffer was seen outside of the bar around 1:55 a.m, talking briefly with two young women and saying goodbye, then moving off camera in the direction of the bar, apparently to re-enter. The camera did not record him leaving shortly afterwards when the Ugly Tuna Saloon closed. That was the last time he was seen. It was possible investigators realised that Shaffer could have changed his clothes in the bar or put on a hat and kept his head down, hiding his face from the camera. The cameras might also have missed Shaffer. One panned across the area constantly and the other was operated manually. He might have also left the building by another route. However, the building's only other exit, a service door not generally used by the public, opened at the time onto a construction site that officers believed would have been difficult to walk through while sober, much less intoxicated, as Shaffer likely was at the time. The search began to fan out from the Ugly Tuna Saloon, with officers sometimes accompanied by police dogs looking closely in the street. inspecting dumpsters and other waste containers, and asking residents if they have seen Shaffer. Flyers bearing his picture were posted widely. Police even persuaded the city of Columbus to let them into the sewer system and search there. No useful information was uncovered. At Shaffer's apartment on King Avenue, 6 blocks from the bar, his car was still parked outside. Inside, nothing appeared amiss. After searching miles away from the ugly tuna saloona in every direction, police began to consider other possibilities besides an accident or foul play. Since Shaffer's mother had recently died, it was speculated he had gone away temporarily to grieve in solitude, yet his disappearance proved permanent. No evident reasons appeared for him voluntarily disappearing. Those who had seen Shaffer that evening, including his father, were asked to take lie detector tests. He and Reed passed theirs, as did reportedly all the others, while Florence refused. The 2 women Brian had last been seen talking to were later identified. They said in 2009 that they had never been asked to take one themselves. Wagner called Shaffer's phone every evening before going to bed for a long time after the disappearance. Usually it went to voicemail, but one night in September it actually rang 3 times. Singular, Shaffer's wireless provider said that what Wagner heard may have been due to a computer glitch. A ping from the phone was detected at a cell tower 14 miles northwest of Columbus. Police briefly considered the heavily disputed smiley face murder theory. Shaffer, under this theory, would be the perpetrated serial killer's only victim whose body had not yet been found. Columbus police eventually rejected any connection to the alleged killer in Shaffer's case, following the lead of most law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, that have looked into it. In September 2008, during a heavy windstorm, Randy Shaffer was out in the yard of his Baltimore home clearing debris. A branch blew off from a nearby tree and fatally struck him. Neighbours found his body the next morning and called police. Shortly after Randy Shaffer's death, Neil Rosenberg, attorney for Florence, wrote to Don Corbett, a private investigator who has volunteered his time to help the Shaffer family find Brian, regarding his client's ongoing refusal to take a lie detector test. Rosenberg intimated that he had learned that the Columbus police investigating the case believed Shaffer was alive. Many of those who are close to Brian Shaffer have criticised Florence for not being forthcoming enough. As soon as the detectives started getting involved, that's when he pretty much had no contact with anybody, recalled one friend Derek. I've always thought he definitely knows something, just won't come forward with it. He believes it is still possible that Shaffer is alive, and Florence knows where he might have gone. If Brian did take off somewhere, if that is the case, we just always had a strong feeling that Clint would have possibly known that, he said. Wagner also thinks that Florence is withholding information, but believes that it's likely her former boyfriend is dead and did not run off. I can't imagine he would have just done that, she said.